I'm Dan from HValley Tools. Today we're going over this multi-angle sled that we can use for the table saw or the router table. Looking at it, we have acrylic construction with these knobs that are all adjustable. We have two big handles that you're able to slide in, and it uses your miter slot for straight travel so that you have a lot of consistency and a lot of control over sliding this over the blade. What's nice is that you get multiple angles for these blocks to set the angle of where your wood is being held. So what's set up on this one, we have 90s, we have 45s if you flip them around, and then you have 60 and 75 degree angles as well. So there are lots of different uses for this sled. One of the big ones for me is when you're making mortise and tenons. So holding these pieces of wood, especially the tall, narrow ones, on edge and sliding them through can be a little jarring. A lot of times you'll make a shop-made sled or something like that, but it's not super easy because you have to create the track, screw the track in. Having it adjustable is huge. A lot of times you'll just make a throwaway jig for that one mortise and tenon, and you just repeat that over and over. But that jig becomes throwaway because it's not adjustable. For this, what's really nice is just with some adjustment knobs, you could adjust for the thickness of your board. You can line it up, square it with your table and with your track, lock it in, and you're good to go. It also has this nice clamp right here, this toggle clamp. Easy, pick it up, flip it around, and now you can go and do each side. It's great about this because it's super repeatable for a jig that's really adjustable, but then you can just pick it up and move it to the table saw and do a very similar thing over there. The other use that is really great for this is that if you were to take this jig and move it over the router bit, you could raise the router bit while it's running and go into the end here and make your mortise into the end of the board. And do it in a safe way because you know exactly where it's going to be and it's going to be lined up, which is awesome. And then going over the table saw, the other great use is when you have to have extreme angles and cutting on boards that are held up on edge. So if you look at this one, the angle on here would be very difficult to achieve on a table saw without creating custom jig. The table saw is only going at 45 degrees, so when you need to go to an extreme angle like 75, 80 degrees, whatever it is, if you're making a panel, anything like that, holding this vertically at that very steep angle, you're already going to be making some sort of jig to hold it and complementing it with the 45 degrees to get to your final degree, so it's a little bit tough. What's nice about this is that you're already super vertical here, and you can be confident that you can clamp it down and hold it securely with two hands. And with the table saw, it's super easy because you can just use your fence. You already know you're straight and parallel to your blade. That just moving it like this way, it's essentially an extension of your fence at that point. You lock it down, you push the fence away, and you're pretty much good to go. And then again, you have all the multiple angles that you could adjust. So adjusting those angles is really simple. So you have two screws here, you have two screws on this side. You loosen those, take this entire faceplate off, and just put the one that you need on. So for some of these blocks, they have threaded holes on all three faces, so you could pretty much use this however you need to and screw it in. So some examples of using this jig and some of the applications they can be used in. So if you're making something like this, it seems like it's just a triangle, and these are some simple angles. It shouldn't be that bad. But if you've tried to cut this on a table saw before, you're going to know that it's a little too extreme. The table saw can only tilt to 45 degrees. So you're doing some other jigs and some other potential throwaway stuff to accomplish that angle. This is perfect for that application. And then if you've had to make any kind of flag shadow box or triangle shaped shadow boxes before, you know that this is essentially the same angle, but for that long of a cut and to make that face flat, you want this to be traveling perfectly straight into the blade so you don't have any kind of cupping, you don't have any drift off to the angle. You want that to be exact. This is a perfect jig for that because you're holding that vertically with the angle blocks that you need and traveling through the blade. it's just perfect application for this. So if you want to pick up one of these multi-angle sleds today, you can go to HValleytools.com, go on their website, give them a call, and they're available today.